Hi folks, I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today is Sunday, the 23rd of June 2024, and in this video I'm going to decipher for you chapter 8 in the book of Zechariah. Okay, so head over to the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, and there's actually 23 verses. Okay, so yeah, it is a little bit long if you like, but not very long. There are other chapters in the Bible which are longer than 23 verses. Now, this chapter here is a little bit tricky to decipher because some Bible prophecies, as I will show in a moment, do have connotations of overlapping into the Millennium Kingdom. And as a matter of fact, many prophecies in this chapter are actually for the Millennium Kingdom. So uh, this is for a very experienced Bible scholar to decipher because it's actually quite tricky, and you really gotta use a lot of analytical thinking uh, regarding the breakdown in where you're gonna put these prophecies into the correct dispensations. Uh, in this particular chapter, there's only two dispensations, as you will see. There are mainly prophecies under the law, if you like, in the time of Zechariah and also Haggai when Israel came out of captivity from Babylon after 70 years, and they began to rebuild the second temple, if you like. Okay, so now, of course, I also have a program here on Zechariah chapter 8, verses 1 to 23. Okay, and this is the program of all the verses. Okay, so verses 1 and 2 are law and millennial kingdom. They overlap one another, and I'll explain in a moment. Verses 3 and 5 are for the millennial kingdom. Verses 6 to 10 go back to the law, and also verses 11 to 19 as well. So this cluster of 6 to 19 are actually under the law. Now, 11 and 12 is actually quite tricky. They can overlap into the millennial kingdom, okay? And we have to look at very carefully at the wording of these two prophecies, extremely carefully. Now, although the context sound more like they are under the law, okay, they do have connotations, if you like, in which they both can overlap into the millennial kingdom. Okay, some Bible scholars might argue that yeah, there is a point there, but you need to be extremely carefully with the wording when deciphering these two. Very careful. Now, verses 20 to 23 then go back into the millennial kingdom. Okay. So let us start with now reading. We're gonna go verse by verse, folks, because this is actually quite a tricky chapter. It is for those people who are very razor sharp in their analytical thinking, because you can get some of these prophecies wrong if you're not extremely careful with them. Okay, you gotta do a lot of thinking here. Now, verses 1 and 2 are actually for the law and the millennial kingdom. Again, the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, Thus said the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Okay, well, just think of the two kingdoms, okay? The northern kingdom, uh, uh, which was swallowed by the Assyrians, if you like, and then the southern kingdom, Judah, if you like, which was taken into captivity into Babylon. Okay, now why is it that these two then, I'm putting them down under the law and also in the Millennium Kingdom? Because if you think about it, God also, especially Jesus, if you like, he's going to be jealous, okay, for Zion with great jealousy, and jealous for her with great fury also, when he comes back for the millennial kingdom, because things what's going to happen during the tribulation in Israel. Think about when Jesus comes back, okay. to make judgment in the valley of Jehoshaphat. You know, Jesus is gonna be coming back jealous. For Zion to rule in Zion with great jealousy. And with great fury. He's gonna have great fury when he does that judgment, if you like, in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay, so verses 1 and 2 then are actually for both, in my view, for under the law and also for the millennial kingdom. And I put tribulation here because, think of what's going to happen, at the end of the tribulation period, at the beginning of the millennial kingdom, if you like. Jesus is going to do his judgment, at the valley of Jehoshaphat. So, yeah, we can actually say that, Jesus is both jealous and has great fury, in the days when the northern kingdom, if you like, Israel, and the southern kingdom, Judah, they both went down, if you like. Yeah, and, God was jealous as a result of that. He wants to make a comeback, okay? So, then on verse 3 to verse 5, I put them under the millennial kingdom because it says here, thus said the Lord, I am returned unto Zion and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. Let us just stop there for a moment. Now, when is Jesus going to dwell? Okay, it says, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. So this can only happen in the millennial kingdom, folks. Okay, that's why here in verse 1 and 2, okay, these two prophecies here are both under the law and the millennial kingdom. They overlap. It's kind of like an introduction. It's kind of like Jesus saying, hey, I'm really upset, about what happened to the two kingdoms, how they were devoured by the Assyrians and the Babylonians, okay? And I'm also very upset at what's happened, in the second half of the tribulation period. I'm going to have to come back with great fury and jealousy, to make judgment, in the early stages of the millennial kingdom when Jesus does a judgment in the valley of Jehoshaphat, okay? Now, verse 4 is also for the millennial kingdom. Thus said the Lord of hosts, there shall yet all men and all women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff or walking stick, if you like, in his hand, for every age. Now, and it says here, and the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Okay, so verses 3 to 5, okay, then these are millennial kingdoms because don't forget that in this period where we got here Zechariah, and then we also got Haggai prophesying to Israel to get a move on to actually rebuild the second temple, as you shall see in further passages down here. Okay, so they belong to the Millennial Kingdom because it's not like uh, you know during the construction of the second temple. It's not like you will have all men and all women, you know, dwelling in the streets of Jerusalem, being happy, just and it's not like you had the streets in Jerusalem full of boys and girls playing around in the streets, being happy. No, folks, not during the time when Israel was actually rebuilding the second temple. They weren't that happy, folks. It was really hard times. Haggai and Zachariah, they really had to, how can I put it, encourage, the Jewish people to get on with rebuilding the second temple. Okay. Now, verses 6 then to 19, okay, are under the law. Okay. So, but let's just go verse by verse. Okay. Thus said the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant, okay, so this remnant is actually talking about those that came out of bondage after the 70 years in captivity in Babylon. Okay, so if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of these people in these days, should it also be marvelous in my eyes? So what Jesus is saying here, that these people are sort of like, uh, you know, how can I put it? They're sort of like thinking, gee whiz, aren't we lucky? Isn't it marvelous that we are back here in Jerusalem, rebuilding the second temple? Like, how did we, how did we do it? And Jesus is asking himself the same question. Should it also be marvelous in my eyes? Said the Lord of hosts. Jesus is asking the same question himself because the Jewish people had just been in bondage for 70 years in Babylon, and a remnant has come through of his people, and so yeah, it's kind of like a miracle, if you like, because even Jesus is asking his question. And don't forget that both the northern tribe of Israel and the southern tribe of Judah went into captivity because they really fell into sin in a really bad way, into idolatry, uh, heavy drinking, just really all bad stuff, especially if you read the book of Isaiah, he will tell you about all the things that, was happening in those days, Anyway, moving along, verse 7, thus said the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. So basically, again, this is another prophecy under the law, in which as a remnant is coming in from Babylon, okay, Jesus is having people coming in from the east and from west lands, if you like, okay, they're coming into Jerusalem, if you like, okay, because then on verse 8 follows from 7, that's why I got the arrow here, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. So, of course, another law. Verse 9 then, thus said the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong. Okay, now why is he saying that your hands be strong? Because I have to rebuild the second temple. That's why. You tell here in these days, in the days of rebuilding of the second temple, these words by the mouth of the prophets. Who were the prophets at the time of the second temple? Mainly Haggai and Zechariah um, were prophesying, to these people, to this remnant that spent 70 years in bondage in Babylon, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. See? So, yeah, basically, Jesus is using Zechariah to tell his people, let your hands be strong, get on to rebuilding, the second temple, hear what the prophets are saying, and just move on, if you like. For before these days, so before the days of rebuilding the second temple, if you like, there was no hire for men, okay? Of course, they couldn't have any men to rebuild anything because they were in bondage in Babylon. No any hire for beasts, neither was there any place to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. Yeah, the affliction in Babylon, okay? For I said, all men, everyone against his neighbor. So, of course, I put here, the captivity in Babylon for 70 years. Now, pay attention to these next two prophecies, 11 and 12, because these are actually tricky ones, because as I grow here, they do have connotations of overlapping into the Millennium Kingdom, and you see why. So that's why you have to be extremely careful, folks, when you decipher our prophecies, because you gotta read word by word, and you gotta do a lot of heavy thinking when deciphering this. So let's go through them. But now I will not be unto the residue of these people, okay? So the prophecy is mainly referring to these people here. They wanted just come out of captivity in Babylon. They're rebuilding, the second temple. Okay. But it says here, but I will not be unto the residue of these people as in the former days, said the Lord of hosts. For the seed shall be prosperous. Okay, so it's talking about these people, this remnant, if you like, that is coming in. Okay, this remnant from Babylon. Okay, it's in here. For for the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give the dew, and I will cause a remnant of these people. In other words, these ones coming out of captivity from Babylon, of these people to possess all these things. Okay. So when you read the context of 11 and 12, yeah, you can really, of course, they belong also in the eye of the law, but why you need to be extremely careful in this is with this word here. With this word here, this, and with this word here, seed. Let me show you why. It does have connotations of overlapping into the Millennium Kingdom because this is what's going to happen again to the Jewish people. Okay. When Jesus is the King of Israel, he deals with the Jewish people in the Millennium Kingdom. Okay. Don't forget then that if you read Zechariah 13:8, it says that only one third, or a residue, if you like, only one third of the people that are living, in Israel, okay, will make it through into the Millennial Kingdom. So this is also a residue, isn't it? Okay. So only one third will make it into the Millennial Kingdom. And so when you read this word here, residue of these people, okay, um, then it does have connotations also for the Millennial Kingdom in that, hey, this could also be for them applied to the Millennial Kingdom when that third makes it through, you know. Although the wording, is more for the law because it says here these people, okay, so it's referring to them. But then also, if you read verse 12, what it says here, for the seed shall be prosperous. Yeah, it follows on from 11, but it doesn't say this anymore, you know. It doesn't say this particular seed or these people coming from Babylon. It says, for the seed shall be prosperous. Well, this residue that's going to make it through that third into the millennial kingdom is also going to be prosperous, and they shall be saved by Jesus. For the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give her the dew, and I will cause a remnant, okay, all these people to possess all these things. So, verse 12 here is not particularly, if you were to read it on its own, it's not particularly lining up to these people that just came out of captivity in Babylon. It's kind of like neutral, it's kind of like neutral. Now, of course, it does follow from 11 and 12. I mean, it does follow from 11 going into 12 rather. And it is talking about these people here, coming out of captivity, but it does have overlapping connotations into the millennial kingdom, you know, if a Bible scholar argues, that they also have connotations for the millennial kingdom, then I don't think that anyone could dismiss that because verse 12 is very much neutral. And, the seed that makes it through, that third that makes it through into the millennium, they're going to be prosperous as well. And this whole verse is very neutral. And verse 11, where it says here, but I will not be unto this residue of these people as in the former days. Well, yeah, this is also applying to the millennial kingdom, don't forget there's going to be a residue as well, a remnant, uh, of these people that will also make it into the millennial kingdom. So, it does have overlapping connotations into the millennial kingdom. So, that's why you have to be very careful. This one is very neutral, like I said, a very neutral verse, although it follows from 11. But I'm going to put them both into the law and the millennial kingdom. Although, of course, it more applies more to the law. Of course, it's talking about this remnant here, but don't forget that at the beginning of the verse in chapter 8 here, verse 1 and 2, we got two overlapping prophecies there. I'm talking about the law and the Millennium Kingdom. Okay, so and of course, don't forget that verses 3 to 5 are for the millennial. So I don't think that any Bible scholar could discard these two as saying, hey, no, look, it's more for the law. Look, a remnant or a residue, yes, come out of Babylon, but also a remnant and a residue will also come out, you know, one third, if you like, into the millennial kingdom. And they're also going to be proper as well. So I'm putting these two verses, uh, you know, for the law and also for the millennial kingdom. I think that they overlap one another, you know. And so I put here, that yes, 6 to 19 is mainly for the law, but 11 and 12 can overlap into the millennial kingdom. Okay. And then 20 to 23 for the millennium. But anyway, let's go back up here to 13, which are under the law. And it shall come to pass that as you were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah and house of Israel, so will I save you. Of course, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. They went into captivity, but Jesus has decided to save them, and you shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. Okay, so as they come out of captivity, uh, God, Jesus wants their hands to be strong. Why? To rebuild the second temple. Okay, that's why Jesus has sent them the prophets. Okay, like it says in here, where it talks about the prophets. Give me one sec. Here, okay, Haggai and Zechariah. Okay. Uh, so I will save you, and you shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. Verse 14, for thus said the Lord of hosts, as I thought to punish you, of course, the house of Israel and the house of Judah, they went into captivity. When your fathers provoked me to wrath, said the Lord of hosts, and I repented not. Verse 15, so again have I thought in these days, of course, it's referring to the days when God has brought out this remnant after 70 years of captivity in bondage from Babylon. Okay, so I have thought in these days to do well unto Jerusalem and unto the house of Judah. Fear you not. Verse 16. These are the things that you shall do. Speak you every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your guides. Okay, so this is what the Jewish people need to do. Be good to the neighbor, speak them the truth, in the gates of the city in Jerusalem, and let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor, and love no false oath. Okay, for all these are things that I hide, said the Lord. And the word of the Lord of hosts came unto me, saying, thus said the Lord of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th shall be to the house of Judah joy and gladness. So basically, what he's saying here, Jesus, is that he doesn't want the house of Judah just to, fast, regarding the sins. He wants them to turn them into feast, if you like, and be joyful because he's already offered them salvation. Okay, he's already promised that he was going to save them. Okay, so he doesn't want them no longer to fast, but to have joy. Turn them into feast, like I put here. Now, verse 20 to 23 then is actually for the millennial kingdom. Now, thus said the Lord of hosts, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people and the inhabitants of many cities. So he is laying the foundation, and the inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, let us go speedily to bribe before the Lord and to seek the Lord of hosts. When can this happen? During the millennial kingdom. Okay, when Jesus returns to be the king of Israel. I will go also. 22. Yeah, many people and strong nations shall come to seek the Lord of hosts. So when can many people and strong nations come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem in the millennium? Okay. Verse 23, thus said the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. Okay, so when can this happen? Millennium. Okay. Alright, folks. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say with this video. Yeah, just got to be pay close attention to the overlapping verses here that do have connotations into the Millennial Kingdom. In my view, I actually put 11 and 12 both under the law and into the Millennial Kingdom. 12 is a very neutral, uh, prophecy that can actually apply to both uh, the residue, if you like, or the remnant, or that third that's going to make it through into the Millennial Kingdom, as well as, of course, those that come out of captivity in Babylon. And verse 11 does have also connotations of that as well. But now I will not be unto the residue. Actually, you can also you could argue that it could apply to those not just in those that come out of Babylon, but that third that makes it through into the Millennial Kingdom. Okay, unto the residue of these people, as in the former days. Said a lot of hosts. So yeah, it's these two. You gotta do some heavy thinking. I'm actually going to put them in my view under the law and also for the Millennial Kingdom. Alright, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.